Hello everyone on the Planet of Maths channel in the episode about factoring out the common factor. The task's instruction to factorize as far as possible, and there are various levels of understanding when it comes to this issue. We'll start from the beginning. In examples like this, we can take out common factor in front of the bracket. And the number we can factor out here, it would be such a number that would allow us to simplify both 6 and 9. We can simplify 6 and 9 by 3, so we take out a number 3. In the bracket, there must be something that when we multiply this 3 by what's in the bracket, we must get this expression. Since we put a 3 here, to get 6 there has to be a 2 inside the bracket, because 3 times 2 is 6. We still need to put x here, then 3 multiplied by 2x's gives us 6x's. We carry over the minus sign from here, and to get 9 here, we need to multiply this 3 in the front by another 3, and also by the letter y. So from that multiplication of 3 times 3y's, we get 9y's, and then everything matches up here. The task is completed. In example B, we have 24 and 18. They could be simplified by 6. So we put the 6 outside the bracket, and now we look to get 24. That 6 has to be multiplied by 4. To get this letter x, we need to put an x here. 6 times 4x's gives us 24x's. To get 18, we need to multiply 6 by 3, and again letter y. So we have 6 times 3y's, giving us 18y's. In example C, we have 3 terms. We need to see what these 3 numbers, 25, 30, and 15, could be divided by. These 3 numbers are divisible by 5, so now we're figuring out to get 25a, meaning here we would have to multiply by 5a. Then, to get 30b here, we need to multiply the 5 in front by 6 and also by the letter b. 5 times 6b results in 30b. And to get 15z, this 5 at the front would have to be multiplied by 3z. So multiplying in order 5 by these 3 consecutive terms in the bracket, we get what was here. Example D, here we have 15, 9, and 3. So these 3 numbers are divisible by 3. And now we're figuring out about this 3. To get 15x, we need to multiply this 3 by 5 and by the letter x. We rewrite the plus sign from here. It should come out as 9y, so we would need to multiply this 3 by 3 and also by y. And finally, to get this minus 3, we need to multiply this 3 by 1. Checking one by one, 3 times 5x's equals 15x's. 3 times 3y's equals 9y's, and 3 times negative 1 equals negative 3. In the next set of examples, you won't be able to take out numbers in front of the bracket. We will be able to take out a letter instead. And these will be the letters that will repeat. In this piece, and in that piece, we can find the letter x. Thus, we put this x outside the bracket, and it's kind of like taking away. From this underline, we took x out, so what will be left of this piece? Here we'll have the letter a left. From that second piece, since we took x out, we're left with 7. And that's it for this example. By multiplying x by this entire parenthesis, we'd get this here. In example F, from the number 9 and the number 14, we can't take out anything, but the letter a repeats. It's here and here. That's why we take a outside the bracket and see what's left after we have taken that a. From this first underline, if we took away letter a, we're left with 9 and b. From this second piece, since we removed the letter a from in front of the brackets, we are left with 14 and x. And that's it. In example G, we now have 3 such a terms. What do we find repeating here? The letter A is everywhere, so we take the letter A out in front. But we also notice the letter X is repeating. It's here, here, and here, meaning X also goes outside the bracket, and inside the bracket, we write what's left. We took away the letter A and the letter X, so we're left with the letter B. From this second piece, we took away A and X, leaving us with C, and here, after removing the letter A and X, we're left with a 3. Example H, we're looking at what we could do here. We could take out X, because X is here, here, and here. X goes outside the bracket, but the letter Z as well, since it's everywhere. It's here, here, and here. So X with Z goes outside the bracket, and inside the bracket is what's left. From the first part, if we took out X and Z, we're left with Y. From this second part, we take away X and Z, leaving us with A. And from the third piece, we take away X and Z, and what? And we're left with nothing. But that can't be right. We need to put something here. And then, An invisible one that we haven't considered until now comes into play, so we should treat it as if it were 1xy. So when we take away x and z, we're left with 1. Let's jump to the next level now, combining everything we've seen so far. We can even take out both a number and a letter. In the example, we have 3 and 12, so we can extract the number 3 from this. But we can also take out the letter x, because it is both here and here. Let's see what's left. We took 3 and x, y is left here. Here, we first need to match up to the 12, meaning we'd have to multiply these 3x by 4. To get 12 here, there needs to be a 4, and from the letters, letter x was taken, so only letter a remains. In example J, we first look at the numbers 28 and 21. These two numbers are divisible by 7. That's why we put 7 at the beginning, but we still have the letter x here and here. So this x also has to go in front of the parenthesis. Now, we match up. To get 28, you would need to multiply by 4. And with letters, if we took x, then we need to put y here. To get this result of 21, the 7 would have to be multiplied by 3. That's why I put a 3 here. X was factored out, so there's nothing more here besides this 3. That's the end of the example. Next example. First, we look at the numbers. 12, 18, 24. These three numbers we can reduce by 6. So the 6 is outside the bracket, but we can also factor a letter a since it's here, here, and here. 6a is outside the bracket, and we figure out what to put inside the bracket to match. To get 12a, you would need to multiply the 6 by 2. Since we took the letter a out of the bracket, there's nothing more here besides this 2. To get 18, you would have to multiply this 6 by 3. That's how it is with numbers, and the letter a was taken out, so we need to put an x here. In this piece, to get 24, we would have to multiply this 6 by 4. How about the letters? The letter a is before the bracket, so we are left with the letter c to enter here. And that's the end of this example. The last set of examples has more powers. With these powers, we have to handle it like x squared is otherwise x times x. This is how you should look at powers. If I expanded this x squared into x times x, I see that here and here I have x. This x goes before the parenthesis, and now I see what's left. Since it was x times x, 1x I factored out, so I'm left with 1x. From that second piece, I took x, so I'm left with 3. And that's it. X times x is x squared, and x times 3 is 3x. In example M, we have a to the third power, meaning a times a times a. A squared is a times a. So what can I factor out? I have one a repeating, it's here and there, but there's still another a. So the letter a appears twice, and since there's multiplication, we make it a squared. From this first piece, we're definitely left with 3, and out of these 3 a's, we took 2, so we have 1a left, and in the second piece, we definitely have a 7 left. And there were 2 a's, but we took both out of the brackets, so no need for any a's here anymore. End of example. In example N, I'll also write down the x's here, and we definitely see that we have x everywhere. In each of the 3 pieces, we have x, so x is factored out, and inside the bracket, we're left with a 2 from the first part. There were 3 x's, but we took 1, so we are left with 2 x's, that is x squared. In the second piece, we definitely have 3, and we took 1x, there were 2, so 1x remains here. And finally, from the last piece, we factored out the letter x, and here the invisible 1 appears, which now must be written here. X times 1 gives this x here. In the example O, we have 2 pieces and a bit more powers. First, let's look at the letter x. We have x cubed, and here we have x squared. It will be possible to factor out x squared, because here there are 3 x's, and there are 2 x's over here. Besides the letter x, the letter y, y squared, and y to the third power, it will also be possible to factor out y squared in front of the bracket. Let's see what's left. When it comes to x's, there were 3 x's here, but 2 x's were taken out, so it's x squared. So we have 1x left here. When it comes to y's, there was y squared, and I took this y squared out of the brackets, so there's no more y here. Now this second part, here for sure I didn't take out the 3 in front of the parenthesis, so I write down the 3 here. There was x squared, but I took x squared out of the brackets, so there are no x's left. There was y cubed, and I took y squared out of the brackets, so I still have one y left here. And the last example to wrap up the video, here we can factor out a lot, because from 8 and 12, we can factor out 4. From x's, there is x squared, and here is x cubed, so I can take an x squared out in front of the bracket. If there is y to the 4th and y to the 3rd, then I can exclude y to the 3rd. And here there is z to the 1st power, and here z to the 3rd power, so I can factor out a z as well. To match up to 8, I need to multiply this 4 by 2. There was x squared, and I took x squared out in front, so I don't write any x's here. It was y to the 4th, but before the parenthesis, I took y to the 3rd, so I'm left with y here. There was z, and I took z out of the brackets, so no z's here. There is a minus sign, and now, to get 12, I would have to multiply this 4 by 3. Then I have 12 right away, because 4 times 3 is 12. X was to the power of 3. I took x squared out of the brackets, so I have x left here. There was a y to the 3rd power. I took out a y to the 3rd power, so there's no y here. And there was also z to the 3rd power, but I took out a z, so here I have z squared left. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I invite you to tune in for the next episodes on the Planet of Maths channel.